And we are live, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Wrestle Peers Face Off. I'm your host, Backup Hangman. I'm here, as always, with Issa of Wrestle Peers. And we have a special guest tonight because tonight we have AO's second Vice Admiral. We have Chris of Unpurist. Uh, Guys, it's going to be a fun show tonight. I'm going to be going head-to-head with Chris for a lot of the show. So strap in. Make sure to like the video, comment, super chat, all that good stuff. Apologize for the lateness. It's mostly Chris's fault. I'm going to just blame him for it. But I'm happy to be with you guys. And again, make sure to like the video, comment, send super chats. A new feature, guys, tonight on tonight's show. If you send us $50, you can choose whichever two members of this podcast to debate about whatever you want us to debate about wrestling-wise. Could be a modern topic, could be an all-time topic, could do something from the past, whatever you'd like. $50, pick whichever two of us and come up with your own debate. Also, for $50, you can pick any song for us to sing, and we will sing it for you on this show. So it should be a fun show. Very excited to get into it. Chris, how are you doing today?
First off, I was not the reason we were late. I came here 5 minutes before the show was supposed to start, but these people backstage decided to talk for another 10 minutes. So I'm not the reason we are late. You know, on our peers, we're never later than 5 minutes because we keep a tidy ship down there. Unlike Ebu's promotion and territory. Also, no offense to Israel, it's all Ebu's fault.
Facts.
Also, Vice Admiral is crazy. I'm my own man. Shout out Unpurist, the best podcast on this brand. Really the best podcast in wrestling. Um, I'm just here to bring some pride and some honor to my territory. So I'm gonna take a couple dubs and thank you for having me though.
Should be a fun show. I'm banned, just like Collision Style. I'm banned from Unpierced, so I don't get to really go back and forth with Chris a lot. The reason I'm banned from Unpierced is because if I ever showed up on the show, I'd school everybody. But these are the games we play, and this is kind of how shit is. Chris is welcome on Face Off Island, and so you're here. I'm happy you joined us.
The thing is though, Ebu, this is not your podcast. This is Israel's podcast. So I want to thank Israel for having me on. You don't run anything. You will never be on Purist. Purist is a 4-man show. No one has ever been on Purist other than the 4 cast members. And you will never know.
I want everybody to know that the dictator that they claim Phil Brooks to be is the man that they are. And I was at the door of Unpierced a few times on some of my Fridays. I was knocking. I was asking what's going on, and then Marcus kind of went outside and told me like I wasn't allowed in, and I didn't take it personally. This is kind of how it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But nevertheless, guys, for those of you filing in, this is episode 2 of Wrestle Peers Face Off. Make sure to like the video, comment, super chat. If you send a 50, we will debate whatever topic you'd like us to debate. And
don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Turn on the bell notifications. We're on every Sunday at 6:30, or it should be. So turn on the bell notifications so that you don't ever miss a podcast, and subscribe, all that good stuff.
Absolutely, remember? Absolutely, totally. Should be a fun one. I already see Bam in the comments saying, "AO is the Roman Reigns of Wrestle Peers. He's unbeaten and he makes his own schedule." That's
shout out AO, man. What up?
Shout out AO. He's gonna be missed today.
Shout out to AO.
Not to me, but that's the homie.
Anytime. What happened? Yeah. Now shout out to AO. That's the big homie, and we can't wait to have him back. Next week's gonna be real fun with All In happening. But tonight we're going to be talking a lot about Edge because
a lot.
Yes, because
he's the hot topic right now.
He is the hot topic right now. Edge is.
And thank you for asking how I'm doing. By the way,
I was about to pass it to you. I didn't forget about you.
You remember to talk about Edge before you asked me. Like this is the state of Wrestle Purist Face Off.
See, here's you know what it is? It's because AO always forgets to ask Marcus how he's doing. And because Chris is here, the unpuristness was like infecting me. You know what I mean? And so it kind of threw me off a little bit. But nah, how are you doing, Queen?
So I want to say what's up to the Israelites. I miss y'all.
Yeah, talk to them.
My absence is it's shattering me because of how much I miss y'all. But eventually I'll get back on social and everything. But I've been chilling. It was a self-care day today. I got my nails done. I just had to, have some me time. So now that I'm refreshed, I'm ready to smoke you in the main event. That's what we're doing today. We're going to be talking about Edge.
Yes, we are going to be talking about Edge. Edge was opening and closing the show because he had his last match on SmackDown, and he might have greener pastures ahead. So we will see, and we'll get into all of that. I'm happy you're here today, though, Isra. You have a nice shirt. I like that.
Thank you. It's literally my show. Of course, I showed up.
Yeah,
I keep the lights on in this house.
Yeah, you probably do. You got the pink mic. I wish if you had a Twitter, you'd tweet out the link, and we'd have some people in here. But yeah, man.
I'm still it's still rocky with that app.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Shout out to Elon,
So
though. Thank you for the
everyone
money.
that's in here, share the video on my behalf, please, because I can't do
Please, yeah,
that.
for sure. For sure.
That would be appreciated.
We're gonna switch it up today though, because it's gonna be me versus Chris for the first two debates. So I'm gonna double up on this nigga and smoke him twice. And then after that, I'll go right into a match with Isra. And then I'm gonna run the table and go 3-0 today. So it's gonna be a big day for me.
3-0.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Bro,
big day.
you're about to get swept.
Nah. You know what? In fact, I'm not, and I'm actually ready to go. So Isra, let's get right to that first topic. Let me know what we're talking about.
All right.
Yeah.
So as we all know, Collision at this point is 10 episodes in, and it's been getting a lot of attention. A lot of people are starting to say maybe it might be better than Dynamite. A lot of people are very like hardcore Dynamite heads. I don't know what y'all call yourselves, but what I want to know and what we're going to talk about in the first face-off is between Dynamite and Collision. Which show has been better creatively? The floor is yours, gentlemen. We could start with you, Chris. Since you are a guest.
So, as a Collision batter, I would be very objective in this debate. I feel as Collision is more people like Collision more of the thought of what Collision is than what it actually puts on its programming and for what it actually how actually creative they are as a wrestling TV show compared to Dynamite. I get it; it's a new thing. Everyone wants to be on the bandwagon of something that's new and something that feels different or claims to be different, no matter how much of how less different it is than people actually like realize it is. You have all these reports of Punk and the Collision locker room saying we just wanted to be different from Dynamite, and them putting that into the air makes Collision fans or people who are what do y'all call each other's colliders or whatever think that they have something different or they can be something. Everyone wants to be different in this world. So they're like, yeah, it's so much different. It's 4D chest over here. When in reality, they are doing watered down Smoky Mountain, watered down Bill Watts territory wrestling. When it's not that. To give credit to Collision, I want not the booking per se, but how Collision is doing for guys who weren't really shining on Dynamite. What it's done for Ricky Starks, especially, I think he's the biggest benefiter of Collision being a show because he gets to show that just his personality and he's a bigger part of the show. He's one of the bigger stars on Collision that he wouldn't have been on Dynamite without Collision. When you have all these other guys, so it's a good show. I love AEW, so I will mostly always tune in for Collision. But to say it's been a better show than Dynamite for the 10 weeks it's been on is just blasphemy. And I will tell you why. Let me get into my real argument here.
Get into it, big bro.
Collision. What?
I said get into it, nigga.
Huh. All right. So I done some research before this. 25% of every Collision card is either squashes and or short promo segments. There's 100% of 100% of that show. Take 25% on every episode. It squashes. And in the later episodes, in the last 3 episodes, it's been up to 30% squashes. So Collision has a formula, right? Where they have a hot opening, whether that's a match or a promo or promo segment, which is usually a promo segment, and then they end the show with a big 30-minute, 40-minute main event. But in between the opener and the main event is filler, filler, filler. But the way CM Punk tricks you is he has these hot things opening and closing. Two things that are really good on a 2-hour program. It's not a good television. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not good television. Um, and having 30-minute main events every single week is a reason that the talent that was getting multiple opportunities on the first couple of collisions, it's a reason they're not getting that same opportunity. When's the last time we seen Andrade? 2-3 weeks? When he was a prominent figure on these shows, getting big spots on these shows, just because CM Punk wants the main event with his buddies. Has CM Punk wrestled on this show and it wasn't the main event? I'm not sure. Ibu, has he main evented? He main evented every episode he's wrestled on, right?
Yes, and typically it spikes the quarter hours every single time, which bucks the
We're
trend of
not
normal
talking about
wrestling.
ratings. We're talking about creativity and if this
Talking
show
about
is
the
better created
content.
than Dynamite. So the content is CM Punk, who is very rumored that he is the Booker of Collision. I don't know if that's true or not. That he is the Booker of Collision, along with Tony Khan, along with these other people, along with Ace Steel putting in his 2 cents. They are doing something that is not really even as creative as people think it is. When they're having a semi-hot opener, the opener this week was not hot. I don't know how you can defend how it was hot or not. The main event was really good, Darby Christian, but Dynamite has been consistently the same show, not the same show, consistently what people want Dynamite to be. High-paced wrestling, nice angles, the occasional promo segment with MJF and Adam Cole, which are genuine rating draws, the biggest rating draws in all elite wrestling. It's so much of a ratings draw that Tony Khan's like, yo, do all this on Dynamite, do this whole tournament on Dynamite, and then blow off the angle on Collision so we can pop a number. And guess what? A Dynamite angle popped the number on Collision with Better Than You Bebe versus FTR. Am I wrong, Ibu? Right quick. Is this a yes or no?
Yes, it was successful in the ratings on Collision.
Okay. Collision has yet to replicate, since you want to talk about ratings, have yet to replicate those ratings from when 2 Dynamite guys and 2 Dynamite builds were on that show.
The question
Also,
is which show is better creatively?
yeah, well, you brought up ratings, so I just wanted to bring up ratings real quick. My bad, bro. And to get to my final point,
You got a little, bro.
the last 2 episodes of Collision have been legit some of the worst 2-hour programming in AEW history. Um, we can talk about the good things on both Dynamite and Collision, but you know what really tells the story is when we talk about the bad things. Dynamite has bad things, Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy running wild. Yes, I understand that. It's not good wrestling. It's not good content to a lot of people. But then we go to Collision, and we have House of Black waffling for 20 minutes per episode. We have Luchasaurus being TNT champion and being the secondary champion on your show behind CM Punk, who is the air quotations real champion, the world champion of that show. Luchasaurus, before CM Punk brought that fake title, he was the champion of Collision. There was no other champion. He was the champion of Collision, right? So I'm just saying that Dynamite has been more consistent with what AEW fans want in their wrestling. Collision has been a watered down thing of past that is not as different as you think it is. And with that, I will end my first statement.
Are you done?
Yes, I am finished.
Fine speech.
Oh,
You made a lot
brother.
of points that I'm sure many in our audience thought were salient. Very well articulated argument, Chris. In some respects, I'm actually proud of you. And I say that I'm proud of you because now is the point where I have to not only offer my rebuttal, but absolutely demolish you. Because if you want to make this a tick for tack game on which show has more bad stuff, I hate to break this to you, Chris, but outside of Dynamite 200, AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays is under its most creatively inconsistent stretch ever over these last maybe 6 weeks or so. And I can break this down point by point. I'm seeing people in the chat saying that Chris already won. I haven't given my reason
Ooh.
why he did not. Here's the deal, Chris. AEW Dynamite right now doesn't set goals for their television. You see, the most effective TV are the TVs that you go in and you're trying to accomplish something at the end of the show rather than just fill television time and not really have anything accomplished that is productive going out of it. And so you can make the argument that sometimes it's a more exciting show than Collision or that it maybe has more dynamic in-ring wrestling. But the question here isn't what show is more entertaining or exciting. It's what show is better creatively. And what I would tell you is this, Chris. There's the talent level on a Wednesday show is in quantity higher than a Saturday, right? But they do not get the best out of their roster the way Collision gets out of their roster. Konosuke Takeshita is one of the most exciting
Smash.
young prospects I have ever seen. He is about 26 years old, I believe, over 6 foot tall, an absolute stud. And he turned on Kenny Omega. He turned heel on Kenny Omega, linked up with Don Callis, and we looked like we were set for the big feud of the summer. Konosuke Takeshita looked like he was going to go on a summer Brock Lesnar 2002 type of run. And you know what happened, Chris? He had a promo segment, the Dynamite after his heel turn, where he cut a promo in Japanese, and he and Don looked like they were the hottest act in professional wrestling. And you know what happened? They abandoned this after 2 weeks. He cut the promo. He had a match with Bandito on Rampage that was tremendous. And within weeks, he stopped wrestling on television, Chris. And then he was an afterthought. He was an afterthought in Blood and Guts. And so we have that, and you're thinking, all right, maybe we're going to go back to this after Blood and Guts. And they kind of did not, Chris. Kenny Omega has been a bit player in the Wembley build. And Konosuke Takeshita was just a henchman for Don Callis in his attack on Kenny Omega in one of the worst pre-tape setup angles that AEW has ever done. An angle that most people laughed at rather than take seriously. The 6-man tag at Wembley is exciting in spite of the fact that its setup has been haphazard and non-existent. The biggest problem with AEW Dynamite right now is that they're not maximizing their talent, and there's just very little direction, and there's very little roster hierarchy either. I can't tell you on a given week which which wrestler is above the next wrestler on the rung, the overall ladder of hierarchy in AEW, and that's a problem because what you want is to have a clear main event, mid card, and underneath, and you want it to be clear who's on the ascent, because that's who you know to invest in. But it's hard to invest in characters on AEW Dynamite because they're featured so inconsistently. Hangman Page is a cult hero to the AEW audience, but he's so inconsistently featured that it's just like, what's happening here? Konosuke Takeshita should be the big hot heel that Kenny Omega has to overcome, but on some weeks he gets less spotlight than Trent Beretta. There's weeks where they prioritize the best friends fighting with the BCC in circular matches than there is on the Takeshita stuff, and we don't really even know on a deeper level why they're even beefing with the BCC, and that's just one isolated example, Chris. If you want me to go even further, I mean, my God, Jeff Jarrett is somebody that we all like and enjoy, sometimes for ironic reasons, but he has stuff that he can add to AEW, right? But right now, he's involved with a feud with the Hardy Boys that nobody could tell you with a straight face what it's about. And just this last week on Dynamite, they had one of the most embarrassing matches in modern wrestling television, just as bad as the Miz Zombie thing. Fucking bro, when you
raised
Chris,
food for
I didn't interrupt you, so please
you're right.
Thank you. They had a match where Leatherface, a fictional character from a movie, walked out there with a chainsaw. And we were supposed to conceivably believe that this was a real threat for people. And they treated it unironically serious because Jeff Hardy sold the fear of this. This is embarrassing television. This is the type of thing that drove people away from WWE. So when you talk about an alternative and that Collision's not a real alternative, well, guess what? AEW right now is doing things that you would have never conceived it would have done when it was first pitched to people as an alternative. It's so it's just like, what's going on here? Again, I keep telling you, the problem with Dynamite right now is it's creatively unfocused. The question is about creative. I'm going to now turn to AEW Collision, because you're not wrong, Chris. I'm not here to just completely disagree with everything you say, because even though it's a debate, it's also a conversation between two erudite, sophisticated, intelligent young black men, right? I'm going to tell you this, Chris. AEW Collision, right? It has a smaller crew. Sometimes it's not the most dynamic thing in the world. But I'll tell you what, the show set out to get certain people more over than they've been. Going in, CM Punk's mission statement was that there's a couple guys on his roster that are really talented and they could be something. He named people like Ricky Starks. He named people like Andrade El Idolo. He named people like Will Hobbs. He named people like Miro. And I'll tell you what, Chris, most of his projects have gotten much more over and have been used much better than they were prior. And a name that I didn't mention, Chris, is Jay White. Jay White was the big free agent that everybody expected to go to the WWE, and he signed with AEW. And people were very excited, and it was a big, almost W on AEW's end to get someone that WWE wanted. And you know what happened? His first month in the company was very, very, very forgettable. They didn't do much with him. He was very nondescript. He never even cut a promo live until he got to Collision, Chris. He never cut a live promo in his 2 months on AEW television on Dynamite. And then they moved him over after his only match not with Ricky Starks was with fucking Commander. Before Commander was even established, he goes over to Collision, and guess what? He's immediately put in there with CM Punk. And he's immediately positioned to look like the star that he was when he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was in big tags with fucking CM Punk. And you know what happened? Guess what, Chris? The fucking Gun Club, who was seen as a joke, got over as a part of the fucking Bullet Club Gold. And right now, they're a viable television act. So viable as a stable that now Kenny Omega wants to work with him. And you know what? There was no interest on those people in working with Jay White until he got this hot again and he got back to where he needed to be. We all knew that Jay White is capable of what he's doing right now, but he was not showing it, and he was not established until he got to AEW Collision. You know what that is, Chris? That's creative success. That's creative effectiveness, because when you're effective in your booking, you can get more people over, and the rising tide helps the overall product. And he's one example. Ricky Starks, he's another person who was floundering on AEW's roster. And I would agree with you if you would make the point that he's not maybe one of the best workers in the show. But I think it's a testament to booking that he now feels like a superstar in spite of that. It's because of how he was featured in his program with CM Punk. And they didn't go away from it. Here's the big difference between Dynamite and Collision. One show is incoherent at times, and the other show, even if maybe it's not super dynamic or exciting at most times, it's very coherent and driven. Ricky Starks got point A to point B to point C booking week to week to week to week, and they never diverted from the path of Ricky Starks, and they never diverted from what they were doing with him, because he was featured as as a mid-card guy in the CMFTR tags. Then he was getting more spotlight. Then he was winning matches in the Owen tournament. Then he won the Owen tournament where he beat CM Punk. But they booked the finish in a way where you can go back and build on it and have reasons to do a rematch. And then they did the rematch. And then he turned heel fully when he beat up Ricky Steamboat. And now he has a reason to be on TV complaining and develop his character further. Here's the next thing I want to point out, Chris. The big thing about Collision that I think is helping the show is that they are emphasizing the importance of character work, because here's the thing: what some people might think is a throwaway with a vignette, to me is a character piece. A character piece is an angle or a vignette or anything that can help establish your character in a way that gets the audience into you further without you wrestling. It's the very reason LA Knight is one of the most over people in the industry right now. And guess what? Right now on Collision, we have a collection of character pieces taking place. Look at Toni Storm, who's currently doing this kind of 1950s Dodie gimmick that she's doing. People are loving it, and she started it on Collision. Look at Ricky Starks with how he's refound himself as a heel. That's happened on Collision with his character work. Miro's reestablished himself. Will Hobbs is reestablishing himself. Jake White, again, big top guy heel now. This is important. And then the last argument I want to make is the reason why Collision is better creatively is because they set out to revitalize FTR. FTR made a big return this year, and we were all excited, but they were not having a great return run. It wasn't very exciting. They weren't having great matches. They go to Collision, and Collision has basically reestablished the importance of tag wrestling, and we've gotten multiple excellent television matches with FTR. The tags with Punk, the tags against Bullet Club Gold, and then the tag with MJF and Adam Cole. They are on a level now where they're back to being on fire and having momentum, so much so that people were able to be excited about the Bucks match because both teams were cold, and now they're excited for it because of the run FTR's having. And you know the Bucks, how good they are. They're going to meet them right there. So my general point is that Collision has just been, they've succeeded in the goals that they've set out. And when I watch Dynamite, I don't even know what their goals are anymore because they don't make it clear. Thank you.
Do I have a chance to rebuttal, or did I just have to listen to that? I would like to rebuttal, actually. And for my first point, this isn't really a point, but I will correct you. Jay White did have a live promo on Dynamite. I don't know when, but it was a live promo on Dynamite with Juice Robinson, and everyone was very excited for it. But to kind of debunk some of your statements on character work, what character work is Miro doing right now on Collision that he was not doing on Dynamite when he was the Redeemer and when he was having a feud with the House of Black? He is cutting the same Redeemer promos, the same "My God," blah blah blah, trying to be Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now promos that aren't even, they don't even pop anyone anymore because how repetitive they are. And that's on Collision. What is Will Hobbs doing on Collision that is just amazing character work that he couldn't have done on Dynamite? What? Because he's carrying around a book? Because he's with QTV and he's was he gonna stand QTV or is he not gonna stand QTV?
Do you allow me
to
you cannot respond to this? Okay.
No, you cannot. I mean, no. You will wait. Will Hobbs is carrying around a book. He is cutting promos on. He cuts all the time. And I love Will Hobbs. But to say that he went to Collision, his character work immediately just rose. He's doing something these people are doing something prolific. I don't know that fucking word. You know the word I mean. Like he's just doing these things. Prolific. Who else did you say? Jay White. Okay, I will give you that Jay White on Collision has felt like a bigger deal in his first couple weeks on Dynamite. But I will not say that's because of Collision. He was working Ricky Starks his first feud. He did not get an opportunity to cut promos. That's not a creative thing. That's just fucking a crowded space that he didn't get to do it until later on. And he was feuding with Ricky Starks, a babyface Ricky Starks at that, who I think everyone agrees that babyface Ricky Starks is not compelling in the slightest. So
he was turned on Collision, which is a creative decision.
Disagree. Also, I also want to say, CM Punk is booking this show. FTR and CM Punk are friends. I am not. FTR getting to have this tag run where their friend is booking the show is not something that it doesn't move me as much as it moves you. They're having good matches, but what are they doing creatively? Not match-wise, what are they doing creatively that is so much different than the usual FTR things? What on the mic have they said that's prolificent is something they haven't said on Dynamite? Nothing that a lot of these people, other than Ricky Starks, Jay White, I don't think anyone who was consistently on Dynamite creatively is so different in the fact other than just getting TV time. And some of the people who are getting TV time are not making the best of it. You keep saying that some of the worst things that happen on Dynamite are worse than the things that are happening on Collision. I can't agree with that. Why is Luchasaurus TNT champion? Why is Christian Cage versus Darby Allin set up for a Darby Allin Luchasaurus match? Why is that the case? Why is he champion if Christian Cage is totally healthy? What's prolific about this Christian Cage and Luchasaurus story? I don't understand. Is it because Christian's a great promo? He's a great promo. He's a great professional wrestler. But you're not telling me what's prolific. Fuck that word. You're not telling me what's just creatively amazing that is happening. You're just saying that these people are getting a chance to shine, which they are. Andrade, what? That House of Black feud with Andrade was over a mask, and it ended in a ladder match over the mask when they were clearly. This is the first big blunder I think Collision had. They were clearly building to an LFI versus House of Black trios match. Would you agree that they were clearly building to that?
It appeared
Ibu?
that was the direction.
Okay, I agree. So they were clearly building to this trios feud, but then Andrade gets his mask back. He's like, never mind, House of Black, bye. Also, House of Black versus the Acclaim is some of the dumbest, most just I don't give a fuck about shit I have ever seen this year on AEW programming. Why do I care? Why should I care more than like oh dang, that Billy Gunn retired? Who is Billy Gunn to me? The dude who got buried by The Rock? Why should I care that Billy Gunn is probably gonna come out of retirement and face House of Black with the Acclaim to All Out? What's good about that story? They took his boots and threw him away. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. House of Black is doing some of the corniest, most Bray Wyatt filled shit I've ever seen, and it's not good. Malachi Black is doing nothing good than what he couldn't have done on Dynamite. It's just you're telling me these people are doing something that they couldn't have done on Dynamite when some of it is just outright bad. The Acclaimed House of Black stuff is just bad, boring, and I don't care about it. I don't think anyone cares about it other than the core fan bases of these people. I think Malachi Black is holding back the House of Black because he's getting these creative control of what they can do and what they can't do. And it's just the same things having random trios matches with all these people. And then some of this stuff isn't even focused, Ibu. Why did the House of Black put their championships against CMFTR? I don't get it. Why? What story before and after the match has happened, Ibu? If you could quickly answer with House of Black and CMFTR.
So we doing this? We gonna ask what's the story with some of the matches on TV? That's what we're gonna do. We gonna play that game?
No,
Do you want to play this game? Do you want to play this game?
No, Ibu, I just want to know. No, we don't gotta play this game, brother. I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? I'm just because I can pull up these dynamites, look at these cards, and ask you what's the story with some of this shit. I'm just, do you want to do
everything on Dynamite? I can explain you the story. I can explain you the story on everything.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if that's productive.
What's the story between Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy's Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match?
During the blind eliminator tag team tournament, Jeff Hardy refused to cheat in order to help him and Matt Hardy refused to cheat in order to help him and Jeff Jarrett win the match, and Jeff Jarrett has held the grudge ever since. Is that a good story? No. Is it a bad one? I don't think he's as bad as Luchasaurus being TNT champion. No.
I want to kill your brother because you didn't cheat in a match. And I'm going to enlist the services of
Why is Luchasaurus TNT champion, Ibu? Why is House of Black feuding with the Acclaim people?
Chris, why is the Bunny getting television time wrestling on Dynamite? Why did Anna
She had one match. Why is Diamante getting television time?
Well, because they're actually building something with her and Mercedes that actually has a direction, and the direction is a heel group that they can pair against their two top babyface stars right now, which is Chris Statler and Willow Nightingale.
The Bunny match is a tournament match. You don't have to have no fucking story in a tournament match.
Was Anna Jay versus the Brita tournament?
When was Anna versus Jay didn't happen on Dynamite anytime soon? What are you talking about?
Look that up? Wait.
Look it up, bro. Making stuff up. You are making stuff up.
I meant Sheeta and Jay. My fault. I have another question for you, Chris. Why was Sheeta entered in a tournament when she's the champion for a 4-way women's match?
It wasn't a tournament. If you people could use
called a tournament by AEW.
He was in the tournament because the winner of that match would be champion, Ibu. They would be champion. So they would go to Wembley, Ibu, because they would be champion.
Not Wembley.
Here's the thing, Chris. I agree. Look, it's clearly like qualifiers, right? And clearly she was just defending her belt, and if she wins, she goes on to fight at Wembley, right? But they didn't call it that. They said this is a tournament for the fucking to be in a 4-way. And I'm like, how is it a tournament? But that's what they built it as. And so I have to go by what they
Was the
tell
Owen
me.
Hart tournament book good, boo? Was the Owen Hart tournament book good, brother?
Yes, it was. I can explain that right now if you'd like me to.
What's the standout match? What?
Your
Why was the
question
book
was it
good?
booked good? And the debate is about creatively. And now you're talking about standout matches. The debate about this entire thing has not been standout matches. Because you know what I'd concede to you? Generally speaking, outside of the long FTR epic matches, Dynamite still probably has more consistently like exciting wrestling. But that's never been the conversation. It's what show's been better creatively. And then you asked me about booking, and now you're asking me about match quality with the tournament. It has absolutely been a well-booked tournament because of what it accomplished. So Will Hobbs was able to kind of worm his way out of QTV through that tournament. CM
He's
Punk
still in
got
QTV.
there's a clear dissension. Let me finish. Ricky Starks got a lot out of beating CM Punk in that tournament. CM Punk lost nothing from losing to Ricky Starks in that tournament because there was an out.
Disagree.
Hold on. Samoa Joe looked like he was established as an absolute killer by doing what he did to Roderick Strong, and that angle had consequences. It was treated like a real transgression, which has weight. And then you follow that up. He then does the match with CM Punk where he does the post-match attack, and that segues into Wembley. So there was a lot of things happening. It was very much a tournament of a bunch of moving parts that accomplished a lot of things. So yeah, it was a well-booked tournament from that standpoint. There was clear directions for a lot of the people involved, Chris.
I would disagree. I'm sorry.
You're disagreeing, but I'm pointing
disagree.
out to you like in how it's been effective for people. So look, man, all I know is this. When I look at Dynamite, right, and I talk about the hierarchy, the bigger point I'm getting at with that is like, if they picked a core group of like 10 guys that are their focus, right, and it had the same philosophies as Collision, you'd be seeing TV that's just like unbelievable, quality-wise. But the problem is, I don't know who I'm getting week to week that's gonna follow up on this thing from the week before, and that's really disappointing. I think a good indicator, again, I said this at the top. I think a good indicator about this whole thing, Chris, is the fact that like, why is Collision getting so much more out of less? Because I don't think the roster is better than Dynamite's general crew. Dynamite is Kenny Omega. You think he's the best wrestler of all time, Chris? Dynamite has Swerve.
He is the best wrestler of all time.
Dynamite has John Moxley.
Whoa!
Dynamite has Hangman Adam Page.
Some of Swerve Strickland stuff is the best book scenes in AEW.
I love the Strickland stuff. There's a reason I didn't target it. But
So why didn't you bring him up?
I'm making a bigger point. I'm talking about the quality of roster on their crew. Chris, Hangman Page is, like I said, he's a super cult hero to the AEW audience, right? After Brawl Out, they clearly made a goal. We're going to have John Moxley feud with Hangman Page, and coming out of this, he's going to be hotter than he's ever been. And so that was being accomplished. They did the Texas Death Match at Revolution, an unbelievable match, right? And you would think, okay, we accomplished the goal, we've heated up Hangman Page, but then they made it a BCC Elite thing. And coming out of BCC Elite and coming out of this fucking Blood and Guts, Hangman's cold again. You're right back to where you were before. So nothing was accomplished. You got some really cool matches out of it because the people involved are talented, but nothing was accomplished, Chris. And he's one of the biggest pieces. He was the guy from day one that they set out to make a big star from the first day in AEW. So, and he's, again, it's symptomatic of the bigger issue on that show. And it's why I can't say that it's right now an effective show creatively. The old Dynamite wouldn't do this. There's too many guys right now that are in like this weird limbo. And people let it go because they're great wrestlers, and oftentimes they're so talented that they can work off it with their matches. But creatively, do I have confidence that Tony Khan is coherently handling all these big pieces? No, I don't. And so I'm saying Collision is the better show creatively as a result. And unless you have something else to say, I'm going to end it there.
I don't really got much else to say other than I just think the consistency of AEW Dynamite and being able to tell stories and then still have matches that have some type of quality and girth to them.
Girth is crazy.
Unlike, well, you're just
I
bisexual,
like girth in my
but
wrestling.
just they're able to. Well, that's crazy. They're able to tell stories and still have quality matches. Most of the time, if not all the time, while Collision rather have these squash matches, 3, 4 squash matches every week, and I just don't think that's good storytelling. When these people have done nothing of note and wrestled nobody of consequence, and that's just all I gotta say.
I respect that, Chris. I don't think either show is perfect at all, but at the very least, it's to serve the purpose of keeping people on television and in the public eye and in their minds, and keeping them having momentum. But yeah, if AO is in the chat, he can maybe make a poll in the comments if you'd like to. But otherwise, you guys can just kind of say who you thought, who you agreed with more in that
And
conversation that we had.
try to like make your decision based on who argument you thought was better, and try not to
Yeah,
be too biased, because this was heated. I felt like I was in the middle of like a spousal like
it was
argument.
fun. I had fun. I don't
No,
know about you, Chris.
this was a really good one. The way that you both of you were talking about Collision made Collision to me kind of sound like, if I never watched it before, I just heard you two arguing about it. I would think it's like AEW's equivalent of NXT Black and Gold, of just like people going there to like figure shit out and like get better, but also have it be like it's not really a complete show quite yet.
Mm. I in some ways I can see that. I think to be honest, I think we both made pretty good points here. So you guys can leave those comments in the chat and also leave it after the video. And yeah, we're gonna shortly get into some of these super chats while you guys are trickling that in on that one. Appreciate you guys.
I have a question for the AEW sexuals. Y'all can like answer in the chat, or both of you could tell me. I don't know, but like, do you have to pick a side? Is this like gang shit?
It seems like the fans kind of do that, so I don't know. Bob the Builder, $2 Canadian, said, "What's the recipe schedule for All In Weekend?" Chris, isn't AO doing something on Twitch or something? Or like,
There's gonna be a 24-hour stream for All In. We don't know when that 24 hours will start. Probably the day before All In at some point. It's gonna be a rotating cast of people from Wrestle Purist. Yeah,
that's gonna be crazy. You're gonna pass it? You're gonna pass by on that?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's All In is gonna be at like 12 o'clock. So I'm assuming that show's gonna go to about 4, maybe a little bit later. I'll probably pass by at some point. We'll see how we pull that off. I think we can pull it off. The way we do 8-hour streams without it even like noticing, So we'll see. We'll definitely see. We'll be on Twitch, guys. Thanks, Bob. Go ahead, Isra.
Bob the Builder, $2 Canadian. Isra looking fine as hell as usual. Respectfully, thank you. I just noticed I added the as hell, but thank you.
I'm not reading that.
Chris, do you want to take this one?
Ebo. Oh yeah, Ricky Starks $2 super chat. Ebo, Zaddy. See you in London. Got our suite.
You were way too good at that purse sound. O'Shea, the son of Ice Cube, O'Shea Jackson Jr., said, "I'm a proud collider. CM Daddy. I go where you go." Chris, you've been seeing O'Shea's what's been going on with him lately?
Yo, this nigga is a freak, bro. Him and his daddy are freaks right now. I'm sorry.
No, tell me what happened, because I haven't like been on Twitter like literally it's like a very out of sight, out of mind. So like, what's been going on with him?
He's repping CM Punk. He spray painted an X on his championship because he's repping CM Punk, and then he went on to basically say like, he's basically like, I'm a WWE guy over AEW, but CM Punk's my guy, and I take up for CM Punk. And then like people were kind of pressing him on it, and he was just kind of like, let's not argue that WWE is not better than AEW because it clearly is. And he was like saying it like his opinion was objective fact.
Yes. I'm gonna take the super chat. Phantom for the win. €2. Why have women never main evented on Collision? That's what I want to know because
Oh my
CM Punk
god.
got this
Oh,
whole ally. He got hit this whole ally gimmick. Like he cares about marginalized communities and women and the LGBT community, but it's always him main eventing. That's exactly some white savior complex bullshit. So like I
oh
don't
my god. Shit.
no hanging because you allegedly might could know him. How come a woman uh or a woman of color never main evented on Collision? You know why? Has there been an explanation?
No, but I do think Willow Nightingale could main event a Collision under the right circumstances.
Under the right circumstances.
Yeah, under the right circumstances.
Her being the best wrestler on the show is not like a good enough circumstance for you.
I think she needs the right opponent and the right setup going into it for it to like mean anything.
No, just put her in the main event. Like put some good shit together. Whatever. You know, I'm not gonna argue with
listen.
white man enjoyer.
A white man. You are the biggest white man enjoyer in this podcast.
I'm really not. I have principles that I stand on. I don't set aside my morals for nobody in this wrestling shit. Don't get me fucked up because I like this is not gonna be sweet.
Athena and Willow could main event any Collision. I'll tell you that. I'll say that.
Okay.
Let's get Athena on these TVs, man. Thank you for the super chat, Phantom. Irene C, $10. A broad AEW issue now that hadn't been early on is not dropping acts and feuds that aren't over with most of the audience. Why is Team TNA, QTV, Hardy's faction still together getting TV time? What do you think about that, Chris? Because like before when the streets weren't fucking with someone else.
I agree with some of this. Like QTV being on all three shows is crazy, but the Hardys are still over in front on live audiences. So you gotta take them out. They're just still over. They're always gonna be over. The Hardy Boys, as much as I think they're washed, and I don't really want to see them on my TV like that, they're still over. I like Team TNA in certain circumstances. I think the match with the Elite was like good, overbooked, fun. QTV though, oh my god, don't QTV, it stinks.
I can't sit through no QTV shit. I'm sorry. I can't even tell you. Like I cringe and I just like mute this shit. I can't sit through it.
It's crazy, Chris, because like back in the day when the streets weren't fucking with someone in something in AEW, they would drop that shit immediately. You know.
Yeah. Remember the Nightmare Collective?
That's what I'm saying. They dropped that shit in like a month. Thank you, Irene. Berkey 199. Can we agree that TK cools everyone that's hot now? It's like his weird kink.
I think he just wants to humble them. And his
I
audience
don't,
as well.
The Hangman one is the weird one to me. I don't feel like people talk about that enough. That Hangman Page came out of this blood and guts thing like back to being cold, and like it was supposed to heat him back up.
Listen, I agree with this to some extent. Hangman was never TK's thing. It was the Elite's thing where they were like, yo, we're going to make Hangman the main character of AEW. You know, he main evented the first pay-per-view against Chris Jericho. Him versus Kenny Omega, for my money, is the best told and just best feud and story in AEW history. I know people are saying MJF and Punk, but I think it's 1A, 1B type thing. TK, I don't think TK ever got it with Hangman Page. I don't think he gets it. I don't think he gets why he's so over with the fan base. Because before AEW, he was basically the Bullet Club's like just young a heater, just like not young. I won't say young boy, but he was like the pin eater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was the weed carrier. He was the young guy in the group.
Yeah, he was the weed carrier. And when they made AEW, it was like, yo, we see something in Hangman that most people don't see, so we're gonna do it. And Kenny Omega mostly booked the Hangman feud, or the Elite in general booked that. And when CM Punk came, TK just couldn't wait to put that championship on Hangman Page. I'm on CM Punk, and even before that, he still cooled him down. And it was really the matches and Hangman himself having to really push through bad booking and not being emphasized on his own show to overcome that. And I know people don't like a lot of people want to shit on his reign and blame it on him, which is crazy. And he really had to, by himself, he had to like, on his own merit, make his reign something that could be looked
Mhm.
back on fondly. Wardlow, I don't know, bro. I just don't think Wardlow has it. He was really hot because he was in a feud with Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who makes everyone he feuds with, other than Brian Pillman Jr., look good. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I think look, there's some guys that cooled off that you could say it's the booking's fault, and then there's some guys who you gotta kind of look at like their performances on there. And I think with Wardlow, I think ultimately what you realize is that he's a very limited talent, you know, and when they try to use him, they're not creative enough to make up for the fact that he's a limited wrestler, basically. So before we get to the next one, I want to let you guys know, for those who are filing in, because we have our biggest house now, almost at 200. I want to thank everybody for joining WrestlePeers Face Off. We have 2 more debates to go. But if you send us $50, you can choose any 2 of us to debate anything that you'd like us to debate live on air. We also will sing any song you'd like us to sing if you send $50. But just wanted to kind of put that out there for those that don't know. And I want to just thank everybody who's stopped by already, and I'm having a good time here. So thank you. Isra, you can take the Will super chat here.
Yeah, I'm not wearing my glasses. So, well, Shazam, $5. Thank you for the super chat. It is crazy how Tony Khan made the Fabs like the Judgment Day more than the House of Black. I would never say that a year and a half ago. Thank you.
It
I
is.
won't blame
It,
House of Black on TK. I would not blame that on TK.
yeah. All I got
I
to
don't
say
know. I
about
feel
this.
like sometimes, like, when it comes to like doing your own creative work, like you just miss the mark sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
but as long as like the way I see it, like as long as like he learns from it and he like gets better from it, because from what I seen, it wasn't it.
All I have to say about this is, Chris, isn't it kind of crazy that like the Judgment Day is better than the House of Black? Because who would have thought this like a year and a half ago? You know,
Well,
like
the Judgment Day, when they left Edge, trash ass, they became grounded in reality. They weren't doing this spooky, fucking
yeah,
spooky shit. They're now just kind of like a BDSM stable or something. I don't fucking know. They're
it,
just they're just like not really. They're like havoc starters, and they're like anarchy. They like anarchy and stuff.
yeah,
House of
yeah.
Black. Oh my god, that promo Malachi Black cut yesterday. What the fuck is this nigga talking about?
Yo, low
Why
key,
are you talking about people
I
being
didn't hate
dead
it the way
and
everybody hated
maggots?
it.
Bro,
What'd you
niggas
say?
are talking about maggots are going to eat your skull, blah, blah. Nigga, this is wrestling.
Yo, you didn't think it kind of sounded hard a little bit, where he's just like, Billy Gunn, maggots will carve your soul, and it sounded kind of hard, but I can't
Nigga,
lie.
Billy Gunn is living in the Hollywood Hills chilling. He's not dead. It's not, he's in a Rob Zombie movie. I don't know, bro. What are they talking about?
Look, it was
It's like
waffling.
what Bray Wyatt used to say when he was the swamp leader. Just
Look,
weird.
it's definitely waffling. It's always, this type of stuff is always waffling. But like, I thought that it was shot cool, and like it was unique. I don't know. There's been worse. The worst one was like that one Malachi cut about like the mask, Andrade's mask. That was like, just come on, bro. I don't know.
More bad booking.
Thank you, Will. Oh, another one. Go ahead, Issa.
Would you like to take this one, please?
Sure. I forgot you're like blind right now. No,
Yeah.
Chris, go ahead. Take this one.
When it comes to women in AEW or even women who are free agents, do you think the way I'm guessing, yeah, Tony Khan booked the women could it push some of them to WWE? No, because WWE is not booked women who are not at the top of the card as well. Like way better than how AEW books women at the top of the card. They're both
I
just
think.
if you're not.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris. Finish your point.
Oh, I was saying if you're in WWE, if you're not a top woman, like if you're not Bianca or the occasional Joshi or Charlotte Flair or Rhea Ripley, bro, you're not gonna get booked like good. You're not gonna get constant TV time or any of that. And in AEW, you're not gonna get constant TV time. There's only gonna be one match for only like a couple people per show. So I just think women's wrestling in general It is not booked well because these people, Triple H and Tony Khan, do not care about women's wrestling as much as they care about other facets of wrestling.
If I
You
was
know who
looking,
does care about women's wrestling though? If we're being like honest, Shawn Michaels.
mm,
He puts his whole heart into the NXT women's division. Like
for
I
better,
don't watch NXT enough, but every time I watch NXT, it's like they'll have like multiple women's segments, multiple women's matches. Like they're all over the show. What they do with them when they go on the main roster, I cannot speak on. But I know in NXT, like they would get decent TV time.
there's a lot of NXT shows that where like there's more women's wrestling and women's focused than men's wrestling to a
And
point
yeah,
where I think Sean like actively just is more interested in them, maybe because they're more from the ground up projects than like Dragon Lee. He's like, all right, bro, I can just book him to wrestle for 12 minutes, but like some of his like PC people, he's just kind of into like developing them. So yeah, I mean,
NXT is
I
just subjectively or objectively, whatever, whichever one it is, just like an amazing wrestling show. One day everyone's gonna wake up.
maybe
Like,
maybe.
don't do that.
Shout out to Dragonov and Dragon Lee. What did I want to fucking say? The thing about this, Chris, when it
So
comes to
let's
free
talk about
agents and people leaving is like it's really like if I was talking to the talent, it's case by case. Like if your skill set is that like you're a star and you want to leave the WWE, like sure. If you're not a star, you have to have something that legitimately like is so like notable that you could be on TV. Like for example, Chelsea Green is really funny. And so she's on Raw getting spotlight because of that. Like it doesn't even matter like her in-ring ability. It's just because she's able to get over like that. If you're somebody on the level of like an Emma who was just like an okay wrestler who was in Impact and stuff, and you're trying to switch over, like there's no point. But yeah, thank you, Will. My man Caster Shell 999. MJF Adam Cole gonna be Rock Austin WrestleMania X7. Pierce put a bounty on my head, unfortunately, so I'm off the grid. Shout out to y'all. I'm enjoying the debates. Chris, you think Adam Cole is turning heel in this match, like Stone Cold did?
Uh, it depends what goes down on the pre-show before the match. I'm pretty sure they're gonna win those belts. So I doubt if they do win those belts, which I think they are. I doubt that Adam Cole turns heel because that's just bad booking. Like, don't take the belts off someone and then have it be the
Only
prominent
to
of a
do a
few.
swerve, right? Yeah.
Yeah, only do a swerve like. I think also yeah, we did put a bounty on Caster's head. He was talking too much shit about Hangman's title reign, doing too much CM Punk praise. He's not good in the unpure streets. I feel. Here's just $10 though, nigga.
Free my nigga Caster. Bob the Builder, $2 Canadian. Tony Khan loves QT. Oh man, he think he's a star. I think
I
QT's TV time is a reward for him organizing his documents and setting up his TV. He's like, all right, you can be on the show. Custodian BPJ 199. Collision, Dynamite. I'm Team NXT. Hey man, best of luck,
Street
Brian.
saying you not signed yet,
Team
little bro.
NXT.
Chris, you think Brian Jr. is going to work out in NXT?
I don't know. Street saying he's not even signed yet for real, for real. Probably not though. I don't know, bro. But I just know when he has a semi decent match, when he has a 3 3/4 match, there's just gonna be dick suckers on the timeline. Told you AEW can't book young guys. Like, bro,
Chris,
what do you think Brian Pillman Jr. is gonna do on the main roster?
Chris, Shawn Michaels is gonna get in Dragon Lee's ear and be like, "Get that man the match of his life," and he's gonna put Dragon Lee against him for like 15 minutes.
He's gonna do his King cosplay too, bro. Nasty.
Yes, he's gonna V-trigger Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's gonna hit his own V-trigger. Niggas gonna post the clips and stuff. It's gonna get 2,000 likes. Shit, I'm getting Elon bucks. I might post a clip, nigga. You know what I mean? Nigga might have to post a clip. You know what I mean? Oh man, thank you, BPJ. Good luck in NXT. Chris, take this one.
Ricky Starks is reminding of pre-Y2J Chris Jericho. You're crazy for this. TK better overspend to retain his services, future WWE superstar. Listen, I think Ricky Starks is doing some of the best work of his career, maybe the best work of his singles career. But do not compare him to to pre Y2J Jericho. This dude was doing crazy shit on WCW television. Oh my god, just having like phenomenal just segments, phenomenal gimmick work, phenomenal matches. He was politicking for a Goldberg match, which any other cruiserweight doing that, nigga, Eric Bischoff would have had them publicly hanged. But Chris Jericho had so much charisma and so much like talent that he was like, oh, we could do this. And he's
And
not even half the worker.
then the
Chris
main
Jericho
eventer's
was.
the main eventer's gotten Goldberg. You're like, man, you about to sell for this nigga? You about to sell for this man? Yeah. Is that it for the super chats? Looks like it. Well, it's time for the second debate, and the first one regarding Edge between me and Chris. So, Isra, you want to take this one?
Oh, I'm excited for this one. Is it okay if I intervene, like ad lib? Because I feel like I might have some questions in between.
If it's a
Actually,
question,
fuck it. This is my show. You're not gonna tell me what to do. Okay,
what the fuck?
As we all know, Edge may have recently just had his final match in the WWE on SmackDown with Sheamus. It was a really good match. If you haven't seen it, like, it's definitely worth your time. So his contract doesn't go out until the end of September, and there are some rumors that Edge joining AEW isn't outside the realm of possibility. So should Edge go to AEW? Would he benefit from that? The floor is yours.
Does he need to go to AEW? Chris, you want to take this one first, bro?
Oh, I went first last time.
It's true. He did go first. Let's alternate.
I think he should. I think he needs to go to AEW. I think that Edge needs it for personal reasons, and I think it would benefit AEW. Surprisingly, I know a lot of people aren't big Edge guys. I know a lot of people aren't really high on his last run.
Who's people? Edge is a legend.
He is a legend, and he gets the respect of the fans. But there are people out there that aren't as high on his work, and they don't rate him that way, especially nowadays. And I'm here to say this. I'm going to say this. This is not even to say that like everything about his run was like tremendous, but at the end of the day, Christian is an AEW, and I think respect to Sheamus, who's awesome. I think he should end his career tagging with Christian. Christian is doing some great work on his own. I think Edge needs to kind of redeem aspects of the last few years, and I think he should prove to the people, prove to himself how good he is, and I think he's done what he wanted to do in WWE. Now, why don't you venture outside of that and show that it wasn't just the WWE system that made you who you were, that you're just that talented as Adam Copeland. And I think him leaving on his terms, tagging with his best friend, his kayfabe brother, is what he should do. And then from an AEW standpoint, you're looking at Wembley. This is the big thing for the summer, right? Wembley and All Out. They're going to need something in the late part of the year that's going to kind of be a bit of a juice for them. And I think a nice boost for them and a nice thing that will help them just in general when it comes to product perception is to kind of get that the W of landing Edge, who, regardless of how anyone feels, he is at this point a legend in the industry, so to speak. So I think AEW should definitely look to obtain his services. And I think he could do some good work. I think in AEW he can tag with Christian. I think he could work with Kenny Omega. I think he could work with the young guys. And I think his wrestling mind is something that he could actually lend over to the company from a backstage perspective. So, yeah, man, I'm pro Edge going to AEW. I think he needs to do it.
Period.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. On Twitter, I'm a known Edge hater, especially his final run with WWE. He does not need to go to AEW, nor should AEW have to put much valuable resources and put a whole bunch of cash into desperately trying to sign this 50-year-old man. To his credit, I think Edge is still a good worker. He's still very competent in the ring. He's very competent on the mic when he's not doing that spooky bullshit. But he does not need to go to AEW, and AEW does not need Edge to have a good rest of 2023. And here's why. Edge, last year in WWE, right? He had the Judgment Day stuff. He had this AJ Styles feud, and what he do before that? His Seth Rollins feud. Was that in
Yeah,
2022, 2023? The Seth
2022
Rollins
was
feud
was go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
was what?
No, I was
No,
saying
go ahead.
2022 was basically the big thing in 2022 is the AJ feud, creating Judgment Day, getting kicked out of Judgment Day, and then feuding with. And then when Triple H took over, he was feuding with him as a babyface.
All right, so the Seth Rollins stuff did not happen in 2022. That was 2021.
Yes.
Okay, well now I'll take that Seth Rollins stuff out, which I think is his best work in the company on his second run.
Facts.
So the Judgment Day stuff was some of the worst television that I was subjected to in modern history, in my opinion. Um, they were literally diet House of Black, and House of Black was still good. Edge had superpowers for some reason. He was talking in riddles. He was bathing in blood and shit. Um, I just don't think that someone who has had the shortcomings that he's had so far just needs to be in a company. And if he goes to AEW, it's not because the money or blah blah blah. It's because he wants to prove something to not just himself but to his doubters, and he wants to further cement his legacy as a wrestler. But I don't think anything he could do in AEW could cement his legacy because people are just still going to perceive him for what he did in WWE. Um, and I think people perceive Ed as a legend and one of the best of all time in WWE history. I think that's how people perceive him. What could he change about himself? What matches could he have that are just so just amazing that people are like, yo, I never knew Edge had this in him. In AEW for the last couple years of his career, what about his run is going to change how people perceive him as a legend? What about his catalog could he come up with, his matches in his catalog in AEW that is going to fucking put his
To,
catalog up with some of the greats?
can I answer you?
You can answer. Yeah, go ahead, answer.
So AEW's roster is so
Keep it
dynamic
short,
that
nigga.
half the people that they throw at him would help him. He could tag with freaking Ray Phoenix, and you'd get the magic of the old Edge and Ray days. And here's the big thing: the reason why I think it's going to help Chris. AEW is better with legends than they are with their young guys at this point. AEW's track record with old OGs is very good. Sting is having his best. Tony Khan thinks Sting is having his best run of his career. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's definitely the best run he's had in over 2 decades. And that's not the only one. Billy Gunn's been well handled, even though he's a much lesser example. Jeff Jarrett generally has been well handled. Tony Khan's good at handling the OGs, the legends, the old guys. Christian, you know what I mean? So Edge would be right in that
Smash.
same vein. What's up?
Oh, nothing.
Oh,
Did
Edge
she
would
just
be
say
right in that same.
smash?
That's crazy. Edge would be right in that same vein where like he'd come in, he'd get the goodwill of the audience, the fans would be into seeing him, and they would put him in situations where he wouldn't look bad because that's what they do. AEW is really big on protecting people with the way they set up the matches, and so they protect Edge. They wouldn't have him like have a singles match against like a mid-level wrestler
All
and
right,
have like
nigga.
a 20 minute.
You're done rebutting. I say keep it short and sweet. This nigga about to go on the whole to
My
kill a
bad, my
queen.
bad, my bad, my bad.
Rebootling.
You know,
You're bootling.
you talking about all the great legends Tony Khan has booked. And I think he's like maybe the best at booking legends of any promoter in U.S. history. But you know what he's not great at booking? Nostalgia runs. And if you said you want him to come to AEW and team with Christian, right? I don't think that's a good thing. I would have much rather agreed with you if you said a singles run for Edge when he comes, but teaming with Christian is going to be a nostalgia run. Like the Hardy Boys, which Hardy Boys have been some of the worst stuff in AEW. You can count on 2 fingers how many good matches the Hardys have had. And I'm not saying Edge and Christian bodies are way better held up than the Hardy Boys. You won't hear me say they're anything similar. But a nostalgia run from the Attitude Era that all the way into 2023 just doesn't bode well for anybody other than to see, yo, they get to face all these teams. I just don't think that they can keep up with the teams that people want them to see them against, other than FTR, because I know FTR, they're going to have a slow match. They're going to, do what they can do against those dudes. But just why do we need another Christian Edge run? I just don't think that's something that we need. It wasn't even something that we needed in WWE because they never, since they broke up, they had one nostalgia run in like the early 20, uh, late 2000s, and just never booked them to tag together again. 'Cause I just don't think it's that interesting, especially with Christian as a heel right now. Who's gonna boo Edge when he comes to AEW? Nobody, unless he's like kill somebody. So a need is just saying, do you want or not want him there is two different things. We don't need an Edge running AEW. Would I be opposed to him being AEW? Of course not. I think everyone deserves a chance to prove themselves against the best roster, and in my opinion, the best roster in wrestling. But I just don't see what we need. Why do we need to see Edge versus Kenny Omega? We know it's going to be a great match because Kenny Omega is the greatest wrestler of all time, and Edge is a very competent wrestler at his age. Why do we need to see Edge versus CM Punk or Edge versus MJF? There's no need for it. There's nothing that's going to change how we view him as a wrestler. There's nothing that's going to change of how we view
Really?
AEW as a company.
I'm gonna ask
No,
you
I don't
this.
think.
So you know how
Go
like
ahead.
you know how like a lot of AEW fans, especially, kind of like were shitting on Edge's return. You don't think they'd be singing a different tune if he had a number of great matches in AEW? You don't think these niggas would completely
Well,
change their tune on that? Because they
but
obviously
here's
would.
the thing. Well, that's because fans are fickle. I hate that word,
Yeah.
but it's just true. You know, if someone does a two step dance on AEW television, the AEW fans will be like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever." This is
That's
so much better than the WWE run. Vice versa with AEW guys on WWE television. It's all about
mm-hmm.
tribalism. But I think it's Edge's peak as a worker is his SmackDown 6 run when he was doing stuff with
Mm-hmm.
Benoit, Angle, and Mysterio. He had
Mm-hmm.
not reached that peak as a performer ever again by himself. He had good matches with Seth Rollins. That's because at that time Seth was, doing some of the best work of his career, and he was able to carry these guys. Other than the top guys in AEW, I don't think some of these guys are able to carry someone like Edge. Not carry, but carry. They definitely would have to carry him to a great match. I don't think they had someone have to carry him to a good match, but to a great match, yeah, you got to carry the 50-year-old man. Um, I just don't see what he could do. Like anything that he could do to be like to get Edge haters to be like, yo, other than people just being AEW shows and be like, yo, Edge is in AEW, so I'm gonna automatically think he's amazing now. I just don't see what he can do to his real distractors, people who just don't think Edge is that great of a wrestler, to be like, yo, I was wrong. Edge can do all this. He was just being limited by WWE or whatever. Um, I don't even think he can have a good as run as Christian, because I've always thought Christian was better than Edge. That's why I wanted our debate to be Christian versus Edge, but even though it's smoking in that, so we changed it. I just, once again, I'm not opposed to Edge and AEW. I think he could do some really good things, but need is a strong word. It's just something that's not needed, especially if he's gonna miss All In. He's not gonna get a big match All In. Like, I don't understand, man. I don't see it. There's nothing I think Edge needs to do. I don't even think he needs to have another WWE run. If he retired right now, I think the consensus of Edge is what it will be no matter what. It's not like something like Christian, who had to go prove himself in TNA because he wasn't getting booked like how he thought he should be booked. Christian has not Christian. Edge has always been booked as this amazing top guy who everyone sees, just a prodigy of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He's multiple, like 20-time world champion or something like that. Multiple time Money in the Bank winner.
He wanted a lot.
Yeah, headlined many pay-per-views. Was always in big feuds. Some of the biggest feuds with the biggest wrestlers. Main evented multiple WrestleManias. Nothing in AEW you can do right now is going to prove anything to anyone, in my opinion.
That's interesting. I mean, that's one of those things where we'd have to see it to know. But I'm interested. It's like I just find it fascinating that that's your perspective on it. That like basically niggas gonna feel how they feel, and like it's not gonna materially change his legacy. Because I think that's interesting because some of that overlaps with my view of his return run, which we'll get into when I talk about it with Isra later. But Yeah, that's just interesting. I'm curious what the guys in the comments think. I want to know what you guys think just about the conversation and about Edge and AEW because I do think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go. And
No, because if I was
I
to
think he's
give
gonna
my
go
two
too.
cents,
go
I
ahead, Isra.
think that his match with Sheamus was excellent.
It was
And
great.
when I watched it, I'm thinking like this can't be your last match. And I was watching it with my sister, and I was just like, her and I both were like, "There's no way." Like he definitely has several more matches left in him. So it was like, yes, that would be a great match to like just send him off. But at the same time, it's like it made me want more from him personally. Like I do think also in terms of like AEW, given that it's a company that, well, in general, Edge hasn't joined any other wrestling companies, even like as a cameo, as far as I know, since joining WWE and then
Mm-hmm.
retiring. So I think going to AEW, it could potentially be like a breath of fresh air. And this is not me trying to interfere in the debate. So when y'all vote, it's gonna be between the guys. I'm just like ad libbing, like I said I would. I think it would breathe kind of like a new life to AEW and to him potentially getting to be around like a new set of guys and like a new system and test his limits. Cause like we know he's 49, like he's literally pushing 50. So, this could potentially be something beautiful or not, but either way, he's still Edge. And I'm gonna sound like hypocritical because I'm not like usually a big fan of nostalgia acts, but I love Christian. Like he's one of my he's top 5 for me in AEW like all around. So like I wouldn't mind seeing them get back together, even if Christian is the one that's shitting on him, like that might eat. Like there's a lot of different scenarios that I think Edge and AEW could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I respect Edge, and it made me feel bad when he was getting trolled last year. Chris was a big part of this on social media. Edge wasn't doing good stuff, and I was just hoping he could get to a place where he wasn't embarrassing himself anymore because you never want to see a nigga go out like that. And I think his run in WWE recovered enough to where he could at least leave out with some pride and having some good matches. And I just don't think it should end there, though. I think he can go. I think he can go even higher with the opportunities um at his doorstep in AEW. And so it looks like he's gonna go, and I'm all for it. I think he should do it. I think he should do
So
it.
a question for
Yeah.
the opposition of Edge joining AEW, Chris. Say he does join AEW, like what are some matches that you would actually be interested in seeing if you were to just draw something up?
Well, yeah, like I said, I think Edge and AEW could do some really cool stuff. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to see him there. I'm not opposed to it at all. I hope my Sabins don't feel like I'm opposed to it, even though I'm an Edge hater for his return. I think him versus guys like Kenny, guys like, especially Kenny. Let me just get on this Kenny Omega thing. As many other unpierced and Russ Pierce fans know, Kenny Omega is my favorite wrestler of all time. I think he's the best wrestler that ever lived. I think he's the best worker. I don't think it's necessarily close when it comes to workers, other than a couple people. And seeing guys from like the Attitude Era and from different eras go against him, like when I first saw Chris Jericho, another Attitude Era guy versus Kenny Omega in the Dome, I was like, yo, I didn't know Jericho had this type of thing in him. I thought he was just, the comedy heel, just stuck up guy. But seeing these dudes go against Christian going against Kenny Omega, one of Christian's best matches of his career, I would say, on that Rampage, and even the All Out match, not as good as the Rampage match, I still thought was a really good match for the
That Rampage
quarter.
one was
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah, seeing all these people who are old guys and guys from old guards wrestling, who people think is the best wrestler of a generation from this generation, from their generation, it is really interesting to see. Also, I'd love to see him against a luchador. Even team up like Ibu said, him and Ray Phoenix and like just a random tag run sounds phenomenal because Edge versus Edge and Ray is I think the best work of Edge's career. I actually think they're a better tag team than Christian and Edge. I think Ray and Edge are a better tag team, had better matches. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Guys like MJF, I think they can get some good promo segments, a good few out of that. Even
Edge is always a good like big power mobile guy with like the high flying
yeah,
luchador. Like that was his thing. Yeah.
yeah, he has a hybrid style where he can I'm trying to find someone to compare him to modern day.
Mm-hmm. You know what's weird? I always thought Trent Beretta kind of had some edge in him. Weirdly.
Yeah, like he's a bigger star version of Trent Beretta. His
Mm-hmm.
moves maybe have more impact than Trent's,
Mm-hmm.
but they have the same archetype.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a lot of the roster would be good against Edge. Keep it to guys who are really good, really established guys. I don't think Edge has to give anybody a rub, really, for this last
Nah,
run.
not
I don't
really.
think you have to give anyone a rub. You know what I mean? Maybe FTR just because he's friends with them and they have history. Him and Christian can give them the rub. But
Wait, actually, unless there's like some guy that you really feel like it's time to get him over, and you want to use Edge, like maybe a Daniel Garcia or something like that. If you wanted to go in that
yeah,
direction, if you wanted to do that,
okay. You know what? Eddie Kingston versus a heel Edge sounds like some very compelling stuff.
could be
Um,
good. Could be good.
if Kingston wins that championship Grand Slam, I wouldn't be opposed to Edge being
Yo,
his
someone
first
in the chat
challenge.
said someone in the chat said Claudio versus Edge, bro. Heel Claudio versus Edge would kind of go dumb. I can't lie to you. That would
Has
go
that
dumb.
not happened in WWE? I feel like that has happened in WWE.
Ooh,
Nah.
no, I need Edge Moxley and Edge Hangman.
Edge, see, now I'm thinking, bro, nah, exactly. Heel John Moxley, Blackpool Combat Club. Could you imagine him like beating up Edge and just being like, retire, stay out,
Well,
get out of my company, and
Edge
just
is
fucking death
really
rises him?
good at selling
He,
threatening injuries. Ever since his neck injury, he's really
yeah.
good at it.
Could you imagine John Moxley
So
setting out to paralyze him again with the Death Rider and like him going on a crusade to keep the old niggas out of AEW? Oh my god,
this is
yo,
good stuff. But yeah, I'm not
that would be
opposed to
fire.
Edge in AEW. I just
It's
think it's not
okay.
needed for Edge's career and legacy.
Brian Danielson versus Edge.
Oh, we got
But
that
we
though.
No, we did. No, we got the triple threat with Roman, and I always even at the time.
that's something with no respectfully. That's something we don't need.
Well, that's something I don't
Give
need.
me something
I
that a
think they
bitch has
were
not seen before.
In the build of that match, I always wanted them to have a singles match, and they never did.
I don't know.
My gripe
Edge
with
has to
Edge,
think of
like
it.
my thing with Edge, if he goes to AEW, I don't want him doing that thing where he drags a feud out for like 3-4 months. Like I want it to be like
Yeah.
a series of like, quote unquote like dream matches, like boom, boom, boom. Like just have a series of good matches and then you can hang them up whenever you're ready to hang it up. But like don't do that shit where you're like feuding with the same person for like 5 months straight just for the sake of like building it. It's like, nah, we got work to do.
Jay White versus Edge.
Oh my
Yo,
god.
Chris, the more I think about it, see, at first I was like, nah, this would be a pretty cool thing. Now that I really think about it, and I'll tell you what, when I was thinking about it from like the standpoint of like a nostalgia tag with Christian, it was one thing. Now that I'm thinking about like actual like old man Edge versus young heel feuds, Swerve versus Edge, a lot of these heels would look good just beating this old nigga up. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of these like heels would just kind of cooking that role. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah. Yo, it might get ugly for AJ Styles if Edge and Kenny wrestle. I'm not gonna lie. It might be ugly for that nigga.
Y'all, leave a comment in the chat. Who you think won the face off between Christopher and Ibao? Remember, I tried to keep
Christian.
it based off the arguments.
Go ahead, Chris.
Who's doing this? Want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think people don't want to give NXT a chance because how much they love black and gold. And then the 2.0 era hurt the fans. But I think a new type of using the independent wrestlers and main roster is working.
You want to speak on this, Israel?
I think we should all just enjoy all wrestling. I think wrestling is a beautiful thing, and we need to just like completely ignore all of the borders that separate us as human beings. NXT is a really good show. Like you have to just like give it a chance. You don't have to stand, but like it's good shit. Like it's good TV weekly.
I would say about this that I think there is something to the idea that NXT being in the shadow of Black and Gold hurts it with some people who are like not regular viewers because they'll just kind of be like, I haven't watched this since then. I don't know what's going on, that type of thing, right? And frankly, yes, peak Black and Gold is better than any version of NXT, but it just kind of was time to move on from that.
I'm not gonna lie, no, because NXT before the WWE Network was ever created was the best era of NXT.
Yeah. I don't like televised
like
NXT
when they
Black and Gold.
people always because people always want to bring up like the four Mount Rushmore, whatever you call that shit. They always bring up like Finn and KO and Adam Cole, and it's like, nah. Like the real Remember when it was Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville and Tyler Breeze. Like, come on.
You talking about that Dusty Rhodes era, basically, where the Four Horsewomen and shit were in there and stuff.
Yeah, the girls, like they were like killing it. So I don't know, like I agree, like the NXT had so many like different phases. I think there's something for everyone, and it's like also like NXT is not that serious, like for there to be any kind of like hate towards it. Like it's just NXT, like it's just like easy to watch.
I guess
it's something that like if no, go ahead.
I'm saying the point I was trying to make though is that people try to hold this new NXT to that standard of like the takeover era NXT, and to me it's like right now the goal is to just develop new people, you know, and frankly that should be the priority of a developmental brand. And no, it's not as good as like the takeover era NXT, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have redeeming qualities. I don't think NXT like I don't love it as a show, but I do think that there's aspects of it that are absolutely productive, and I do think that there's some people coming along.
Hold on, because actually, there's a lot of similarities with the current NXT and old NXT.
The period you're talking about,
because people forget that NXT, like every week there was like this new person who you never heard of in your life just showed up with this gimmick that like when you see it the first time, it's like, what the hell is this? 2 weeks later they go over, and it's like these things always happened like organically. Sometimes they didn't, but like now we're kind of seeing this kind of resurgence of just like new characters and like people coming up with like a lot more creative stuff and putting together like, you know, different kinds of move sets and what have you, and the women having a big spotlight. So I would actually argue that like if you like Black and Gold, like there's certain elements, like no, it's not copy and paste, it's definitely not the same thing, but like there's certain elements that still exist that I think you would enjoy if you took a stick out of your ass and just
you know what it is, Isra. I think that like some of the people that say that they're Black and Gold fans, I think they're really referring to that like 2017 to 2019 period, where really what they liked about it mostly, it wasn't the experimental aspect of it or the new development aspect. I think what they just wanted was basically WWE style televised indie wrestling. Like they just liked
like
having
work rate stuff.
Like PWG, Ring of Honor with WWE production.
But they do got some work rate stuff with WWE production. Like we have Axiom.
Yeah, I don't disagree. There's a number of hoopers, right? I'm saying, but like towards the end.
I know I'm agreeing with you, but I'm telling you that, like I said before, like all of these elements that people enjoyed, like it still exists. Just it's not as concentrated, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a part of the formula rather than like the primary thing that it offers, like it did at the end of NXT. But
honestly, when I watch weekly NXT, it gives me like it's like if wrestling was also like Chris, trash reality TV.
Wait, hold on. Chris, mute when you're not talking, because there's this like weird feedback coming into your microphone.
You needed to interrupt me to say that?
Because he wasn't reading the chat. Sorry.
Chris, read the chat before I get mad.
All right, go ahead, sir.
I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about before you interrupted me?
You were saying that the show kind of has this reality trashy something.
Yeah, no, like like when you watch like trash reality TV, like Bad Girls Club and like Love Island and shit. That's what NXT reminds me of now. But like I like that stuff. Like it's some of the segments are like cringe because these people don't know how to act. But in order to get better, you have to just do it. So like some of the acting is like pretty bad and like borderline like porn intro. We do not support that. So yeah, like it's certain things that like it's a little bit cringe, but to me, like just because I know it's just NXT, I don't take it that seriously. Just take it for what it is. But I really enjoy it weekly.
Yeah,
like it's a real wrestling show. I'm sorry.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Thank you so much for the super chat, Will. Oh, there's Kimberly. Go ahead, take this one, Isra.
Oh, so Kimberly, my sister, she said, all retirement wrestling. Hi, Isra and Chris. Hi.
Kimberly,
Thank you for the super chat. We love you.
Kimberly is
Thanks
a,
for the
is a
$5 million.
Nope.
Space's legend. It kind of hurts my feelings that she didn't say hi to me, but it is what it is. Average foodie. This is 40 rupees, I believe. Isra is so cute, man. She's literally an angel and love or heart.
Thank you, Average Foodie.
What's your favorite food, Average Foodie?
Carlos Ortiz, 199. Does TK buy the rights to Metalingus if Edge joins? Edge has the rights to the song, I believe, and he will absolutely, if he's in AEW, he's going to be coming out to Metalingus. I'm worried about what his name is going to be.
You know what I just realized?
What's up?
Edge has a new show coming out. He's part of the new Percy Jackson show.
Yeah.
That might be some good publicity for AEW in the memory use.
Yeah.
Might need that cracking. Oh, and Edge, if you ruin Percy Jackson's legacy even more than it already has been ruined by that trash ass second movie, I will never stop my tirade against you. You better cook up.
And Percy Jackson. I never got into Percy Jackson.
Because you're a lame.
I don't know. It seemed like bootleg Harry Potter.
What the fuck are you talking about? Never mind. Let me not.
We'll get into it.
Real Chisholm,
we should get into it in a space. But go ahead.
Who y'all think would help AEW more, Edge or Randy Orton Randy Orton would not give a damn wrestling anybody on the AEW roster.
Yo, nah, Randy Orton and AEW would be hard.
Randy Orton and AEW, he would just go out of his way to like just embarrass everyone.
That would be so
just go out of his way to just like not give a fuck.
Yo, Chris, I'm sorry. Randy with the ability to say shit, it just pops me up. That sounds so.
Too bad
Randy with more freedom to be as misogynistic as he wants to be.
Yo, Randy Orton RKOing Britt Baker, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I need that.
Listen.
Why did Randy have to fuck up his back? See, now I'm mad because I want to see him fuck that bitch up.
Randy punting Britt in front of Adam Cole. You know what I mean? Like,
and then punting Adam Cole right after.
Yo, Chris,
Randy under TK would be the most carny nigga of all time. Because TK would not say no to this nigga, bro. He's definitely saying nigga on live TV.
Chris, here's the thing about it. Think about all the Randy. So? Think about all the Randy Menace angles they've done on PGTV. Now think about that with TV14, bro.
Bro, I'm lying. Randy making niggas bleed sound fire.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Yo, listen, he RKO's a dude. And you see him bleeding from the mouth. Like, oh my god, that'd be gas. That'd be so fucking gas. Thank you, Will. Now I want this, even though he's not even coming back.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah,
I love Randy.
I don't care what people say.
Will, breaking the bank today.
Yo, yeah, Will, you've been awesome, man. We really appreciate you, Will. Thank you so much. Do you know if William Regal may have a hand in getting new talent in WWE? If not, what's he doing up there? I have an exact answer for you. Yes.
Good question. Because
I have an answer for you. He does have a hand in some of the new talent recruits, specifically like the international ones. He had a hand in Dragon Lee, I can tell you that, and he wasn't even officially in office yet. He was a big proponent for bringing Jay White over, and he's in Gorilla every week. Every week at TV, he's in Gorilla, like right next to Triple H, and he plays a big part in the production of the show and helping with putting together the TV. Because Triple H himself is he's a big picture guy. He doesn't like actually mapping out the intricacies of week-to-week television. That's kind of not his thing. And William Regal really helps him with that, the same way he did with NXT. Wiltism again. Look at my man. But it also feels like HBK loves Carmelo Hayes. The thing is, I don't know if Triple H or Vince would like him. I think Melo would need to join the Hurt Business on the main roster. All right. Chris.
All right. We're done with the super chats. So we will get tonight's main event.
Yes.
All right. The main event. Isra and Ibu will be discussing Did Edge's Adam Copeland's return run in WWE help or hurt his legacy? We'll start with Ibu.
Why
What
do
do you
I got
think,
to
Ibu?
start it?
What is your because Israel is a woman and a lady, and you are supposed to be a gentleman.
Hold on.
So, do you think Edge's return run helped or hurt his legacy?
So I want to preface this by saying that I like Edge, generally speaking, and I tend to defend him against people that troll him. I think he's still a very competent wrestler, and I enjoyed a lot of his run. I truly did. I do think that his Randy feud on TV, the build to it was fantastic, to be honest with you, even into the pandemic. And one of the two matches delivered. I liked a lot of his stuff against the Judgment Day once he was a heel, once he was a babyface, and I thought the Seth matches were good. With that said, I don't think it helped his legacy because for as many cool things that he did other stuff that kind of didn't make him look the best. He wasn't the big ratings mover that you would have thought he'd be, being that he's such a big name. I don't think that his stuff with AJ Styles was good at all. I thought it was actually actively bad. His WrestleMania match wasn't that good, and then the Backlash match was like just really bad. He had a feud with the Miz that I didn't enjoy, and then also his version of Judgment Day was like some of the most embarrassing stuff WWE's done in a while. The way he was presenting himself as this weird like vampire overlord guy who had implied like supernatural powers was so cringe. I was like, this is not the rated R superstar. What is this cosplay? And so I'm not gonna say like what some people say, which is that his run is a disaster or that it's terrible, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. But there is a number of really bad to where it almost cancels out to a degree. And while I'm happy he ended on a really good note, I think that there's been enough like just kind of shit to where I don't think it helped his legacy. I think it's a neutral. It's funny because it's similar to a point Chris said earlier about AEW, even though I disagreed with him on AEW. I think that coming out of this, I don't feel like Edge is like higher on any all-time list than he was before this. Like I liked Edge and I thought he had a good career before. He had this run where he did some good stuff and some bad stuff, and I think he's exactly where I had him before. He had some bad matches and some good matches, and I still like Edge. I still respect him, but he's not like he didn't move up any all-time lists to me the way like I would have done for CM Punk with his AEW run. That's just me. So I'm gonna say that it didn't help.
Okay. Okay. Fair. I guess. I mean, okay. I'll do my rebuttal to what the bullshit that you just said in a minute. But I just want to start by saying that Edge is a legend. Like, just completely. This is like not up for debate, by the way. When he had made his return, first of all, it was a complete surprise. And if you had heard the reaction, you were talking about ratings. When you were actually watching the show, the Royal Rumble that he had returned on, if you heard the real life reactions, you wouldn't give a fuck about that loser rating shit, right? To be honest. Because every single time Ed shows up, he's always going to be the loudest pop of the night, like every single time. You mentioned how you didn't like his work with the Judgment Day, but now the Judgment Day is one of the best acts in all of WWE and the second best act on Raw every week. And he literally invented the Judgment Day. He invented Dominic Mysterio because that feud that he had against the Judgment Day when he was teaming with Rey Mysterio, he finally helped Dominic Mysterio develop his own identity. We talked about in-ring work not being as great with AJ Styles, but that trilogy that he had with Seth Rollins was amazing and boosted both of them and made both of them look amazing. He got to main event WrestleMania. And these kind of things, it's much bigger than just necessarily his legacy. I kind of look at it in like a bigger picture type of way as Edge being able to overcome his real life issues and being able to overcome his career-ending injury, and him coming back was just as much emotional, I guess, as it was, good for wrestling overall. Because yes, like if you look at it in terms of like, looking past yourself, you think, well, this is someone who can be, like a superhero to children, someone that can teach people that, you can completely overcome everything, and that regardless if it seems like the fucking world has ended and like everything is over, like there's always going to be some kind of a solution to this problem. And I wish I had articulated that better, because it's very beautiful to me. He was able to accomplish a lot in the time that he came back. Like I said, like main eventing WrestleMania, he got to run it back with Randy Orton. Like I said, the trilogy with Seth was amazing, and he got to boost a bunch of other wrestlers on the way up. So I think that it helped his legacy. I would say that not only did he help his own legacy, but he was able to help other wrestlers, and we saw it in real time. Like I said, Judgment Day. And just overall, it was very important for just wrestling, because to have a wrestler come back from a career-ending injury after so much time, and the whole time that he was away, he's been working towards coming back. Like he had multiple surgeries. I think I wish I knew the technical term. I think it was triple fusion neck surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard that shit in my life. So I learned something new with that, and just being able to know that there's so many different medical advancements for just about like any injury. So like him coming back, the implications are so much bigger, in my opinion, than just wrestling. But in the way he did, get to just uplift wrestling overall in other acts, as well as himself, and had a lot of amazing matches on the way. So I say it helped his legacy. I think that match with Sheamus, which potentially could be his final match in the WWE, was such a beautiful way to end it. I think the match went for about how long? Like about 20 some minutes without
20 minutes.
And yeah, he got a good amount of time. He got to do it in his hometown. I'm stoked that he did it with Sheamus, because you guys know I fucking love Sheamus. Like I think he doesn't get his flowers. So he got to do it with just like a real good competitor, and just on the way out, like it was just classy. And I think he's everything that wrestling needs in terms of just the personality and what he offers to wrestling. And I think that people will remember his comeback for so many different reasons, whether it be the sentimental reason, or whether it be just him being able to see him at a later stage in his life still be able to put on great matches. And I think he's beat the washed up allegations several times. I think he's done a lot of great things. So that's my case. I'm Team Edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think you make some really nice points, and almost a sentimental argument there from you. But you did kind of bring up something that I didn't think about, which is that his journey to coming back 10 years after the neck problems is pretty inspiring. Hopefully that's a precedent for people like Bobby Roode and like a Big E, people that I think
also continue, finish what you gotta say first.
People that I think are really good wrestlers that just didn't get to end it on their terms, and I would have liked to see more of them. So yeah, for sure. What were we gonna say?
I mentioned this backstage, but it just hit me that like the day that Edge made his return at the Royal Rumble, he did a fantastic job at keeping it a secret, because I think at the time there were kind of sort of some rumors, and he just always shut them down. Like, I can't ever come back to wrestling. And the day that he had come back was the same day that Kobe Bryant passed away. And I remember that whole day because it was so depressing, and like you could just feel the vibe was just so down. But then when his music hit, it's literally like he breathed life back into everyone. It was like he like made everything okay again. Because we never thought that we would ever see that. Like, and by the way, my argument was not fully sentimental. I brought up a lot of amazing things that he got to do in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like you stand Judgment Day based damn near, if you don't like want to admit it or not. But it's like Judgment Day like literally would not exist if not for him. And you might think, oh, like what he was doing might have been cringy. I would say that was just him doing an ode to the Brood era and kind of being able to pay homage to his own self, which is another testament of his legacy and just how long it is and his ability to be so versatile in wrestling, character-wise.
I get that, but like, just because it's a homage doesn't mean it's good. His Judgment Day stuff was not good. Like, it was fucking terrible. This dude, he was like levitating objects and shit. He had this purple big chair. Like, it was just like, why do you
I
have
like the
powers? I don't know.
chair.
Yo, this man at the beginning of the year of 2022, he's this wholesome family man with his wife Beth, and then 2 months later, he's like a vampire guy. I was like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what?
But he been a vampire. Like it's part of him.
I get that, but okay, if you want to be, but just do what he did.
Okay,
Remember?
so Kimberly, my sister, $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. She said, "You had stadiums screaming his theme. His return created a newfound appreciation for that man. Please get the fuck. The Judgment Day stuff only hurt him with the IWC marks."
Look, I get that line of thinking, but in this case, it was just not good. It just was. The thing is, do you remember SummerSlam 2021, Seth versus Edge, when he rose up from the fire with the Brood entrance, and then he did his like main theme entrance? Like, that's cool. That's like a cool homage that like looks cool, and he's not trying to make you believe that he has powers and shit like that. You know, you can homage without like literally doing like just like weird stuff. No one was trying to boo Edge.
Oh my God. I just want to say that, like, as a Seth fan that hates, like, not hates, but really isn't into 90% of men's wrestling, that Edge feud was one of the best things that I could have seen Seth do, because, like I said, like, he kind of just like breathed life into him, and he elevated the visionary character. He had Seth, you know, being able to like expand on his character work, and it was an amazing trilogy of matches. Like, you could literally like, you could ask anybody that watched all three matches and be like, "Oh, which was your favorite match of the three?" And you're gonna get all different answers, because all three matches, even though they're the same two guys, all three matches felt different. Like, it just showed that like both of them were just really versatile. Both of them like know how to be able to tell a different story in each match, have amazing chemistry with one another. And he helps Seth with his visionary gimmick and being able to get back on his feet afterwards with everything moving forward after that, coming back from like pandemic wrestling and everything. Also, you have to imagine when Edge came back, he didn't get to have his first singles match in front of a crowd. Like, he had to have that like little like, oh shit, my light. This happens every episode. He had that match with Randy Orton, and it was, you could tell that like both of them were kind of like struggling in terms of like being able to work it without a crowd, but still they were able to kind of like tell their story and just like work in spite of that. And also, that was a difficult time for wrestlers, just period. But you have to think like he didn't have to just adjust to coming back to wrestling, but like as soon as he came back, it was the pandemic, and then he had to readjust, and his ability to do that was like, what was the word that Chris was trying to use? It was prolific.
For whatever reason, Chris, that word was kicking his ass, and no one introduced that word into the conversation except him. Like, I don't know why. Like, he brought it,
Well,
like,
because
it wasn't like I used the word and he used it to like rebuttal me. Like, he just kept saying,
Rebuttal.
he was saying like proliferation, prolicity, prolif. I was like,
isn't
you
this
don't
a
have to use
debate
this
between
word.
you
Like,
and Israel? Why am I in this?
I'm just saying.
No,
I
I just wanted to say the word prolific because I wanted to remember it.
Yeah.
I can say prolific.
Yes.
It's just, you know.
Yeah, nah.
But bottom line, we're Team Edge. Chris, actually, do you have a some 2 cents you want to drop?
I can agree with both your statements to certain degrees. I think the return of Edge was one of the greatest moments of the decade. Probably is up there with the greatest moments of the decade, just because of all he went through and all he went through to get back to wrestling. I think it was just a really great moment. But for Ebu's point, some of the stuff he did in his return was some of the worst stuff of his career. The Edge and Randy Orton match at WrestleMania, oh my God, that is one of the worst matches I've ever sat through. And I can't blame it all on Edge, because Randy's born after there too.
Yeah. Randy said, "There's no fans in here." Like,
I'm sorry. You have to watch the match and like just tune everything out and really pay attention to like the surroundings and like just really like focus on like the breathing and like the way, the body language and the way that they were able to, you know.
It's
They did a Christian watch with you, Israel.
It sounds to me like you were enjoying this match for non-wrestling reasons, and I
No,
respect it.
I
but
mean,
I respect it.
wrestling has so many different forms, you know.
That man Randy was just
They
breathing and
went
glistening and picking this man up and going, oh, get up.
after the Chris Benoit Dark Side of the Ring. They went into the gym and hung each other with sports equipment, which is some of the
Yeah, like
craziest
they.
just coincidence ever.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
that's an allegation. We don't know if that's the
But
real.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. People don't talk about it now. Their rematch at Backlash in the pandemic that was billed the best match ever. I think it's actually the best match of both guys' careers. I think the match is crazy.
yeah, but also to Isra's point, the
Yeah,
Edge in Seth trilogy is like some of the most well received stuff at the time. People call it like the best trilogy. People were calling it the best trilogy of all time, which I don't agree with. But if a lot of people are saying it, it must have meant something. But then you got to take that Judgment Day shit. Oh my god, that nigga was
bro.
teleporting, flying, and breathing fire. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
The saving grace of
The,
that is
the
that
AJ Styles matches, oh my god.
Lord have mercy. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. The saving grace of Judgment Day is that they've become a genuinely good actor since he's left, and now they're like effective and over. But in the moment during like
I
that feud,
mean,
what's up? So
I
so I
mean
guess
that was the catalyst for
so yeah. So what I'll
the
say is that maybe
the
Edge
Dom Mysterio heel turn.
Edge was good at picking them. He just didn't, you know. And look, a lot of this is Vince too. To be fair, like to be real about it, like Edge himself didn't like some of the Judgment Day stuff, and he wanted to be out of it. But that doesn't mean it was good, you know. But yeah, his selection of talent was good, and we're seeing them do well now. But look, shout out to Edge, man. You know what I mean? He might be calling it a career. I thought his Sheamus match was really good. I hope he doesn't call it a career. I hope he goes to AEW. And I thought we had some really productive and interesting
Actually,
conversations.
hold on. Because why does it have to be AEW? Why can't it be like New Japan?
It's just not gonna happen.
That man would die, Israel.
It's not even about. It's just not going to happen. Like he has no interest in doing that.
Yeah, and also they just don't have the money to pay for Edge.
Mm-hmm. The only reason AEW has a chance is that he does want to tag with Christian again, and Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler are friends of his that helped him in his comeback to WWE. Like when he was practicing to come back, they were like working out with him and stuff like that, and so they've all wanted to wrestle each other, and so that's why AEW has a chance is because like he would like to do that, but New Japan just that's just not like really an option. And being a family man, I don't think he wants to go out to Japan and stay there for an extended period. Will
What
Chisholm
about
said,
Impact?
"Come on."
Bro.
Uh, I think Edge's Judgment Day run was bad because it felt like he wanted them to be some type of new brood. But then reports say Vince wanted them to be supernatural. So why idea was that? To answer you, Will, here's the real story because I guess I don't know if anyone reported it, but Vince was trying to take it in a supernatural direction, and Edge didn't like that. And when he voiced to Vince that he wasn't into this, Vince said, "Okay, then we're gonna book an angle to kick you out." And Edge was like, "All right," and then Edge went home. And the next time we saw it was when Triple H came back into power, and he basically called him back and said, "Let's make this into a feud, and we'll drop all the supernatural shit." Drizzy Drew, 199. What's up with Raj and this attendance number fetish? I have no comment.
I just flipped the switch. Flip, flip.
Congratulations to AEW All In for setting the all-time paid attendance record in pro wrestling history. It's a big accomplishment for them.
But
Drizzy
Ebro,
Drew,
Mega doesn't have a singles match, so it's actually pretty bad.
Drizzy Drew 199. Also, Isra, you look mad good, by the way, respectfully.
Thank you.
Isra, the AEW, the AEW, the Wrestle Purist audience, they think you look heavenly on this nice Sunday evening. You know, Kimberly 199. Nick Khan gonna come with that legend contract. I'm crying.
As he should. Edge got kissed the feed.
That'd be funny.
I thought Edge was actually a really good actor. I didn't watch all of his shows, but I did see his appearance in Vikings. I thought it was really good.
I was about to say I never watched that show. So.
No, Edge is actually pretty good at acting. Like he's pretty underrated. Like when people mention like wrestlers that act, like they never mention Edge, but he's mostly because his roles haven't been like like Marvel and shit. But he's a really good actor.
I think he's a better. I think it's why his promos are good. I think sometimes it leads to him kind of overdoing it in his matches a little bit. Like he's like, I need to oversell my facial expressions and shit like that and method act. But it does. It's why he's very natural in backstage segments and promos and stuff. So shout out to Edge, shout out to AEW, shout out to Dynamite and Collision. Hopefully both shows tighten up because I think me and Chris, with our conversation, I think what we showed was that there's some mounting active frustrations from both of us about these shows, and I think we both want them to be as good as possible because we love AEW, and I hope that they tighten up a little bit, especially coming out of Wembley because some of the bad habits have been piling up a little bit. But
Yeah,
ultimately, we're both
I
AEW
want.
fans.
You know,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we debating it, and it's all jokes on a timeline. Well, for some people take this shit way too seriously,
Yeah.
and cry about every joke and all that shit. But I want AEW to be as good as it can be. I want both shows to be
Yes.
good. I think it's good that there are two shows where people can go to get time on TV.
Yeah.
As long as AEW is good, I just want Punk to suffer. Um, so yeah,
Facts. That's no, as long as wrestling thrives and Punk suffers, like I think that's all that we
oh,
as a society should want in wrestling.
oh my god. By the way, NBA Twitter found the Punk GTS clip. They are tearing that man
Oh.
apart. They call
Oh.
him Pat Ewing on the Magic, brother. It's over.
Oh. Listen, I'll take these jokes because I think that CM Punk versus Samoa Joe at
That
Wembley
no no
Stadium.
no 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 that GTS was so delicate.
Listen, let's see y'all pick up Samoa Joe, 360 pounds or whatever he is. Let's see y'all pick up Joe.
I'm
Niggas
not,
I
acting
mean,
like
bro.
hasn't he
The
done it
thing is,
before?
right? I get Small Joe's a big nigga, but why do the move if you weren't confident that you could do it?
the other thing is he can't even see in that mask. Like, you know what
Oh,
I mean?
brother.
Like
Here
yeah.
you go.
Oh no, bro. You
Listen, he
excuses.
ain't trying
That's
to hit
his
Joe in the
finishing
face.
move. He
At
should be
the end
able
of
to do
the
that
day,
shit with his eyes closed.
at the end of the day, people can get their jokes off now. I do think I'm going to be vindicated at all in. I think Punk and Joe is going to be awesome. I really do believe
They need a
this.
4.5 for you to be vindicated, in my opinion.
I think it's possible. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's absolutely possible. Do what they did on
That's
TV,
kind of
but a
sweet.
more a TV. What they do it on TV in a stadium setting with the great crowd heat and drama and big near falls and the finishers and maybe some blood, and you get to 4.5. I think they can do it.
Who do you
And
think is winning? You think Punk is going to win
yeah,
again?
I think Punk wins. If
Yeah,
Joe
when
won,
is Punk is not
that'd be low
losing
key a
anything that
gas.
he's gonna book.
Yo,
He's a
that low
narcissist.
Yo, that low key be a gas
Ah,
plot twist though, Chris. Chris, that would kind of be a very interesting plot twist for Collision if Joe was the real world champion though. I can't lie.
Oh my
yeah.
god,
Uh,
bro.
I
we'll
don't
see.
know, man. I think he's going to. I don't know, man. I think he wants to get off Collision. I think he knows Collision is. He see them ratings. He's like, oh, brother. He know football season coming up. He
Football
don't want
season
to
is
be that
coming up.
Collision champion during football season.
We'll see. But I want to thank everybody. You guys really kind of tuned out and showed out. You guys are a great audience, man. You watched 2 WrestlePeer shows in one day. Will Chisholm $10. Could John Cena work in AEW? Not Cena that's in Hollywood, but the Cena that had a good match with great workers. 2015 John Cena in AEW
100%.
would be yes. 2015 John Cena in AEW would be fucking incredible.
No.
Oh, my
No. John Cena can't wrestle anymore. And this is not, I'm not trying to be a hater, but I just noticed that whenever wrestlers go to Hollywood and like join the Illuminati, like they just can't wrestle no more.
God.
That is crazy. That's crazy. That's John Cena currently like is not good, but he was a
No,
couple
no,
years ago.
he stinks right now. He
Uh,
needs to shave that hair. He needs to go bald.
yeah, Will Chisholm $10. I got to do it how would Seth Rollins work in AEW with his gimmick? I don't think he'd be the visionary. I don't think he would, but Seth would be fine in AEW. He's a really good wrestler, and really good wrestlers in AEW get over and do well.
I feel like Seth should, if he were to go to AEW, because throughout his career, like he switches his gimmick up and his style and everything, like he'll commit to and like change everything about himself, right? So I think if he was to go to AEW, I don't think he would opt for the visionary. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I think it could work, but I think generally like it would be a new chapter, so he would have to do something new. If I was to suggest anything, I want him at some point in his career to go American Psycho, like Patrick Bateman type of character, because he always goes like kind of like the psycho route, but it's always Joker. Like I want to see something that's more sinister and like, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
see
I
that
could
for
see him
him.
doing his Age of Fallen thing from ROH. That was
I want
kind
to see.
of like
I
a
do want to
thing.
see Seth Rollins bleed.
I need to see Seth bleed.
I want to see Seth
I
bleed.
need.
Is that the last
All
of the
right.
super chats though? If it is, yeah, exactly. Guys, you guys supported two of our videos today with the ACA pod. You guys tuned in full effect for ACA at 2 in the afternoon, and then you came back for us on a day where there's a lot going on. There's some preseason football. There's an Impact Wrestling show with New Japan, but you guys still tuned in and supported us, and I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate all the people that supported our show, as well as Isra and Chris. We have another super chat from Darren Walker. Isra, did you see Unpure's podcast, the WWE AEW roster, over 30 wrestlers, and none of them pick Seth?
I don't understand any of these
Israel, that is
words.
not true. I picked Seth for my first pick, Israel. Don't let him lie to you.
No, like the thing is, like, I don't get in my feelings about Seth. Like, I don't care if the guys don't fuck with Seth. Like, that's your prerogative. Like, there's like literally hundreds of wrestlers that are amazing that you can fuck with. I believe Seth Rollins is the best wrestler in the world. I believe he's like top 5 all time. But like when people shit on him, like I'm not gonna like start crying and shaking. If you don't got taste, not my problem.
That's the thing about it is so people think like with me and you with like Seth and Punk, like obviously like I play it up for like entertainment and content, but like they think like we're tripping if like you diss like our guy. We're used to our favorites getting shitted on, like it's not gonna make us lose sleep.
Besides, like it's a lot of women that are top tier that like people just like completely don't ever acknowledge, and it's just like some people just don't fuck with certain things, and you just gotta look away.
It just happens. This is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I do want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for supporting Wrestle Pierce Face Off. We will be back to you guys 2 weeks from now. Next week, there's AEW All In, and there will be coverage on the Wrestle Pierce Twitch. Following that, AOs will presumably be back, and we'll kind of round this thing up again for the 3rd episode. But Chris, I want to thank you so much, sir. I wish you were on camera, but I think you did a really good job today. I think we had some very educated, quality discussions, my fellow black man. Isra, Wrestle Pierce, First Lady, stunning as usual. Thank you so much for being insightful and being a great mediator. I thank you as well. I thank the audience. And for Isra, for Chris, I'm Backup Hangman, and I'll see you guys next time.